Hey guys, it's Miss Azeltine. I'm here this week for our book review, book talk of the week. And I have a really good one for you this week. This book is probably going to get a lot of attention. It's called Dear Evan Hansen. You may have heard of it before. So right here on the authors, it has 4 people. That's because one guy wrote it, Val Image, and then 3 other guys made it into a play on Broadway, which has won like the Tony Awards and a bunch of awards. So I would not be surprised if this was made into a movie. It was really, really good, although definitely heavy subject matter. So the main character is Evan Hansen, and he is in high school. He's having a lot of, he has a tough time fitting in, and his mother has made him go to therapy. His therapist wants him to write a notebook or a journal where every day he writes himself a note of something to be grateful for that day. And so he decided to start writing the notes and say, "Dear Evan Hansen," like to himself. And then he would say, "Today is going to be a good day, blah, blah, blah." Or sometimes he'd be like, "Today is going to be a bad day." So he had written this note, or he had started writing this note to himself one day when he was having a really bad day, and it was kind of like, "Dear Evan Hansen, I don't know why I'm living. I don't," he talked to himself in the third person, so it was like he was another person, and he would say, "I can't really get through anything anymore. I don't know why I'm living. The only thing I have to hold on to is this girl," and he said her name in the letter. Anyway, so he had written the letter at school when he was having a particularly rough period, and he had put it in his pocket. Well, another side story to the book is that there's this bully guy. Well, he's considered a bully, but he's just kind of like a loner weirdo. And the sister is the one that Evan Hansen likes, and she's just like normal, kid at school. In fact, Evan did not even know that they were brother and sister. So the bully kid, he had an altercation with him earlier in the day in the lunch line, and he kind of realized that maybe there was more to the kid. He wasn't just, being mean and a bully. So he just kind of left him alone. And then they had a class together later in the day, and he said, "Hey, why don't you sign my cast?" Because he had a cast on from a fall earlier in the summer, which you will find out is kind of a twist. You'll find out about it towards the end of the book, about what actually happened with that and why he was actually in therapy. So the boy is just being kind of like whatever, and he gets this giant Sharpie and writes his name, across the whole cast, like really obnoxiously. But before he does that, he goes and he grabs this paper off the printer that Evan had just printed, which was his letter to himself. And he read it really quick, and Evan was like, "Don't read my stuff." And he thought that it was about him and that he was being made fun of. So he got mad, got up in his face, punched him or whatever, and he put the letter in his pocket and left. So that's kind of like the first part of the story. And then it turns out that this kid, the bully kid, ended up killing himself. And the letter that he had gotten off the printer was found in his pocket. So the parents of him think that he wrote the letter to this kid, Evan Hansen, because it said, "Dear Evan Hansen, I can't go on anymore," and even mentions his sister. So they have a little bit of hope that their son had a friend at the end, and they want to meet this kid because they didn't know their son had any friends. And so Evan feels really bad for them, and he kind of is going to tell the truth, but then he misses his opportunity, and so he goes along with the lie, and it spins out of control. He makes up all these stories about how, yes, he was friends with the guy. They end up making like a sort of like a GoFundMe and a whole project to raise awareness for suicide, all based on the fact of this kid's supposedly suicide letter to his friend Evan Hansen, who was not his friend, nor was the letter to him, or the guy didn't even write the letter. So it ends up just being a whole cluster of nonsense until the end, which it takes place over a couple of years before you finally get closure with the story. But it's really, really good. I do think it's going to be one of our top tayshots next year, and it probably will get made into a movie. So it's called Dear Evan Hansen. If you are okay right now to read something that's a little bit heavier, it's really good, and you won't be super sad when you're done. You'll like it. So if you want to read this, I found 2 places that you can find it online for free. The first one is www.ebookparadise.com. The paradise is a Z instead of an S. And the other one is getbooks.online. Both of those had them for free that you could download like on your phone or your device. Sora, again, does not have that, the one that we have through our school. And it's called Dear Evan Hansen. And this is the main writer, Val Image. But as you see on the book, that there are several creators because it was made into a show. So email me if you want to talk about it. If you have questions after you read it, if you want to just tell me what you thought, or if you want to see what this is again. It's called Dear Evan Hansen, and my email, of course, is bazeltine@alvinisd.net. So you can always call me there, and as always, be safe, stay home. We miss you. It's almost the end of the year, and I hope you just keep reading. You will not fall behind if you are always reading. So I'll be signing off till next week. Bye, guys.